Welcome to the FeedBak podcast, everybody. My name is Back. I got OB in the house as always. How you doing, man?
What up? I'm doing good today.
And introducing, I've talked about this girl about 2 shows ago when I realized that the feedback was entering his was close to 10 years.
And
Angela,
yeah,
Angela's been like, I mean, since day one, she was a correspondent. She was doing interviews. She was doing photography. And yeah, I'm glad.
the
And you've been on the
hustle.
show before. You've been on the show a couple times, like back in the day.
Yes, the
So,
original podcast, I believe.
yep. So thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this. So I want to jump right into the big event from last night. If you're not aware, there's this versus thing that's been happening that's put on by Swiss Beats and Timbaland. Been going on since the confinement started, right? Around March or so.
Yep, quarantine time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quarantine.
And so last night, I mean, they've had Jadakiss versus Fabulous. They've had RZA versus Premier. They've had Babyface versus Teddy Riley. And last night was the Dogs, DMX versus Snoop. So I want to. That's gonna be your first word on the podcast. Was barked.
Wow.
All right, Angela, this is gonna be a good show. So first of all, when you find out it was announced, like who were you rooting for before even listening? Obi, who were you for?
Me?
Yeah.
I wasn't really rooting for any. Well,
Come on, you had a team.
who I thought was gonna have like the big like bangers that everybody would start commenting like they would love was DMX. Like he has all like the hip hop anthems. When Snoop has like just the all around like tracks, but they're like more like chill back late, like with the friends or cruising kind of songs. But when I actually watched it,
No, don't say anything. You were team DMX.
Yeah, I was Team DMX.
Angela, what about you?
Oh man, I mean,
They're both good. Don't get me wrong.
they're so good, but in their own
they're
way.
both legendary rappers.
I do feel like, of course, like I love all of DMX's music from the past because he really doesn't have anything current. I guess I was more Snoop just because I feel like, you know, we grew up listening to all that music. It was probably like our first set of CDs were like his and like Tupac and so on. But I just definitely felt like I was Team Snoop just because I felt like he always had more content than DMX. But God almighty, I was telling you earlier, I was like, I swear I went through the biggest throwback memories of like junior high, high school. I was like, oh my gosh, I remember my grandma caught me with that Snoop Dogg CD and popped it in half because she was like, I can't believe you're listening to this. But yeah, I think I was Team Snoop. And he did not disappoint. He was lit and turned up and high and whatever else. I was like, this is amazing.
See, so Snoop holds a special place in my heart because Doggy Style 1993 was, and so 1993, I was 11 years old, is the first American hip hop album I've ever heard. That was my introduction to American hip hop. So all the songs on there, like I learned by heart. Like, you know, you guys know this. I learned English listening to hip hop, and Snoop was a big part of it. So I was going around to all my niggas and my bitches and my bitches and all of that. Getting Juice, Shiznit, all those tracks. Pump Pump, Jesus in the Hut. I didn't know what the fuck you were saying, but I loved it. I loved it. And so when the battle was announced, I was like, yeah, if you look at DMX's career, it was just really the 2000s, like late 90s and the 2000s. That's maybe about 5 to 6 years maybe span. But Snoop's been doing it since like 1992, you know, with the Chronic. And you're like, okay, how do these two compare? And then it was interesting because, you know, Snoop has been active outside of hip hop.
Right.
Like he reinvented himself a lot over the past years, you know, from TV show host to he owns his own, I think football league, I think for his son. And he has like a wine company. He does all kinds of stuff, but he's still relevant. DMX has been in and out of jail.
Yeah. Give the guy a break.
Like DMX, for people that have not seen this, has the wildest. Remember the show Behind the Music?
Yeah.
That shows like documents their whole career. Yeah, he has by far the craziest behind the music documentary I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's a miracle that he's alive right now. If you watch it, you're like, somebody's making this up. There's no way one person went through all this shit. It's insane. Like, to the point like, there's one part in the documentary, just one part, where he's walking through a hotel with his manager and shoots like his manager in the foot because he's on so many drugs. He shoots his manager in the foot in a hotel and takes off running. And just like, that's one of his arrests, that incident. And
like
his manager didn't
or this is
no,
upbringing before he got
this
big?
this is in the middle of his career when he has big hits. Like, it's just like, who does that? Who lives their life this way, where it's so reckless? Like, it's just.
It's Darkman X. That's what he does.
Still, when the whole thing, when the battle happened last night, and dude, there was 400,000 people watching this.
No, they hit 2 million.
They hit 2 million. Because I was just watching it on Instagram.
Yeah, between Instagram and Apple Music and Apple TV, they hit 2 million.
Yeah, wow. It was a big number. I think theirs was the highest rated one. I thought John Legend and Alicia Keys were going to be the record holder, but theirs beat it.
I will tell you, to me, it's not the best, because the one that set the precedence was the Beanie Man Bounty Killer one.
No, that was just for you because you have a personal tie to it, but it wasn't the biggest one that sat.
No, here's why.
By stats.
No, here's why that one was game changing, because it's the first one where both artists are in the same room. Because all the other ones before that, they all had sound problems, and they couldn't figure out like how to make it sound right for Instagram, and they kept getting shut down. And it got to a point where Timbaland and Swizz Beatz were sending like audio kits, like, here's how you set your shit up to sound good on Instagram. That was before the Beanie Man Bounty Killer one. And the Beanie Man Bounty Killer one had about, as far as Instagram goes, had over 500,000 people watching worldwide. And from that point on, they were like, oh, so it's better in person than doing it. Hey, you're in your studio and you have a band and you're just, with your console, and then hope that it sounds right. But now they're like, this is going to be a production. You can put 2 people in the room and they're going to go at it. So you can feel like it's a battle. You can see the body language. You can go talk to each other. They can play off each other. It's way cleaner that way. And the first one that did that was the Beanie Man Bounty Killer battle. And from that point on, they're like, all right, fuck it. Everybody in the same room. That's how it's going to be.
6 feet apart, though.
Okay. Yeah, but get to the music. Like, so what did you think about the show in general? Because we're talking about everything else that's not music.
Well, I wanted to mention the format, but I think that DMX had a lot of songs that you're like, oh fuck, I forgot about that.
Yes.
And so, but Snoop just dropped classics. Like, there's no, like, you could have predicted what Snoop was gonna do before the battle. He's gonna do Gin and Juice. He's gonna do Nothing But a G Thing. He's gonna do What's My Name. He's gonna do The Shiznit. He's gonna do Murder Was the Case was kind of the one that I wasn't sure about, but yeah, he did that one. He dropped It Like It's Hot, Beautiful. Like, those are all like, if you love Snoop and you're a Snoop fan, it's like, yeah, those are obvious. DMX is like, has a lot of bangers. Like, X Gonna Give It To You, Get At Me Dog. Those are like big club, like banger joints, but I don't think they compare to what Snoop has. I really don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was talking to another friend about this morning. Like, really, there's like, I know that's the show concept. Like, we're supposed to, when you get the 2 artists together, it's a battle. We're supposed to keep track. That's how we've been doing it for all the past battles. But nobody really lost. Like, everybody was having it turns into this big virtual dance party. Like, I love this format. Like, I love that there's going to be a weekly day each week with 2 other different artists, and it just turns into this virtual house party. Like, I kept saying it, like, through, like, I posted several clips on my Instagram story that I kept seeing other people do the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. And on Facebook, people were kind of like, yo, this turned, like, my house is a club right now, because I'm just, my laptop's pulled up, open, the volume's high, and I'm just listening to all these hits by these two artists that I love. It's just, it was great. It's so cool. Like there's even a moment where NASA, the official NASA site, was commenting on the song like, "Yo, this is like the best. This is like the best music I've heard in forever."
What was really interesting is that when you think about the songs they have, DMX, what the bitches want from a nigga, and the whole second verse is all names of girls.
Yeah,
remember that?
You still remember it?
Yeah, like 40-something girls. He just starts listing. That's the entire verse, and then you hear "Ain't No Fun," which is probably the biggest like misogynistic song ever made. When you think about it, when you think of the lyrics, and you think about like "Bitch Please" and all the, and you're like, yeah, this was okay. I guess that these songs were okay back then, and yet when they dropped those tracks during the battle, all the girls in the chat were like, "Oh, this is my jam, this is my jam, this is my jam." I'm like, yeah, the song's name is "Bitch Please" and "Bitch This" and "Bitch That" and blah blah blah.
I mean, even in music, like culture changes, but it's like we're not. I mean, but it's nice that all the people, millions of people, like can still enjoy it for that time period when that came out. Like, because it was more just, it wasn't really about degrading people. It was more about just the atmosphere that it creates, like of going out and partying and things. So
you got to put it in context of the time, and I get that, but I feel for every major outlet had to talk about this battle, and I feel for the intern at CNN who doesn't know who these people are and then listens to this shit for the first time. It's got to be like, oh yeah, this Snoop and DMX are going at it about songs that are pretty awful about women.
Oh man, I have a story about like Snoop in particular, about kids and like maybe I guess millennials, or I guess we're millennials to some degree too, but I remember working in West Campus and we had a bunch of interns in our office, and I remember we closed the office and we had a bunch of work to do, so everybody was like, oh, let's just play music. So we play random like a hip hop station, and an old Snoop Dogg song comes on, and one of the literal interns goes, who's that? Like, I've never heard this song before. And I literally never felt so old, or I don't know. I don't even know.
I don't think it's that you're old. It's that they're young. Because
Snoop's song, yeah.
Snoop, I mean, most of his songs will pass the test of time. Like, people still jam to "Ain't No Fun" and "Nothing But a G Thing."
Yeah.
Gin and Juice is still, I mean, you start playing that if you're in that, I don't care how old you are, you got to know Gin and Juice.
It's across every genre. Like I even listen to like on the Bobby Bones show, like one of the #1 country show, like on iHeartRadio. Their host Amy is like they have like this regular game that they play. She raps Gin and Juice, all the lyrics to it. She censors it, but she raps. She like they all know the lyrics. Like, it's no matter if they grew up in country music or wherever. Like there's like. It's kind of like, what do you? It's just in terms of music, what makes what makes a classic? Like, is a classic? Is a classic just a song that hits #1, or is a classic like what like in terms of you when you think about it? Because what I told somebody else, like, when I'm listening to this battle, like, these are classic after classic after classic, like, because these are songs that they might not have been like or all hit #1 or something, but people,
a lot of them,
literally everyone knows every single word to all these songs. And this is like from decades ago. These are like more than 20-year-old songs, and these are just like,
I mean, look,
they won't ever get old.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think if it's generational, where you know it, your younger brothers, younger siblings know it, the kids know it, I think that's where it gets to that classic level. And I think that it starts with how big it was, what impact it made to the industry when it came out. You take a song like Nothing But a G Thing. Everybody, if you tell somebody 1, 2, 3, and to the 4, everybody knows how to follow that. I don't. It doesn't matter how old you are. Like, that, what comes after that.
And you know why you know those is because we had to actually like either play it on our cassette tape, write the lyrics down, because they didn't always come with lyrics. And I feel like that's how I learned like lyrics to songs. And so as many times as you hear it on the radio, you're gonna learn something. I think the statistic is like 20. You hear something or you do something 21 times, you're gonna remember it.
Yep.
And that's how I remember like reading or really remembering lyrics because oh my gosh, it's on the radio. Record and keep it. And then you have like a whole
You really did it
mixtape,
yourself,
all your
Angela.
stuff.
I used to make those mixtapes.
Yeah, I used to
love
too. I had
great.
you know I had this dictionary of hip hop lyrics that I would print out and put in my binder and just recite, just learn and recite. Go
Yeah, but
to
now you can just Google it.
All three of us are hip hop heads, but like, are there other artists that you know are like that have made classic albums that you haven't listened to that you want to give a try to listen? Like, you want to make an
hip hop
attempt to
or
listen to
outside of hip hop?
outside of hip hop? Like for me personally, like I've heard this band talked about a lot, and then I started like going and playing old albums. I'm referring to Fleetwood Mac. I've always heard of Fleetwood Mac, and I was just like, but I couldn't really like list all the tracks off of their album like I could list off all the tracks off of a DMX or Snoop album. But so I started going back and I'm like, damn, these are good. Like it was just like and I've always known that because clearly this is someone that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like they've made these great hits. Like it's cool to like venture out and find other, because the same way how happy we were listening to that battle yesterday, like I'm sure they could do that same format with two other bands. Like it would be cool to kind of see Metallica versus Aerosmith or something in that same format.
Yeah.
Like how
I mean,
crazy
they could
would
do
that
that
be?
shit anyway to anything now. I mean, take two producers, take full bands, take I mean any genre. It doesn't matter. It could be beat battles. It could be karaoke battles. So it doesn't
And it's
matter.
like the fans win. It's just like it's a win
Exactly.
for the and it's just it's like you really get to just go and reminisce, like especially in this time when all the news is so negative. Like this is like one of those small little things that
It's gonna
really unites so many people, and it's so positive.
You know,
Yeah.
I've always said if there's one thing that comes out of this quarantine time is people that were creative and started something that is going to blow up. You know, I mean, versus they just partner with Apple TV and Apple Music. They're going to, I mean, you take something like that and you put it on TV, that's a hit show.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
then
hit
we're gonna
show.
have to rely.
You know, they already rejected offers before that.
Oh yeah, of course
that
I'm sure
they've been
people.
rejected, like because they wanted to. I don't know who was the other person that came up to offer them a show, and they just felt like it wasn't. They wanted to really do it They didn't really see the full vision of why this concept is so cool and why so many people enjoy it. But I'm glad Apple actually understood it and they partnered with them, and they're blowing it up. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
So as far as your question about classics, you might get mad at me for that, but I know a lot of Stevie Wonder tracks, but I don't feel like I know his entire catalog.
Let's end this.
No, hold on.
Stevie Wonder's tracks.
Look, and I've seen Stevie Wonder.
I know.
Live.
I'm not gonna.
Do you know his entire catalog? Do you know Stevie's entire catalog?
Yeah.
Okay, no, hold on.
It's Motown.
Hold on, calm down. This is exactly what I was talking about. Hold on. Keep your pants on. It's okay.
He doesn't have any pants on. He's wearing shorts, probably.
Oh no! Don't get up, Opie. Do not get up, please. Do not get up. This is going out to the public.
I don't know if I'm more upset that you don't know Stevie Wonder's whole catalog or the fact that you haven't watched Jurassic Park.
I've watched Jurassic Park, so
fine now you have. But when I first asked him that question, he was like, "No, I haven't seen Jurassic Park. Who's watched Jurassic Park? Oh, it's a classic. Like, have you seen Jaws? I haven't seen Jaws. Who watches Jaws? You've seen these after I've questioned you about it. Like,
no,
I should go watch it.
I saw it in French.
Oh.
I saw it in France. Jurassic Park was just as big in France when I was a kid. But let me finish my point. Let me finish my point before you blow up at me. Again, I've seen Stevie Wonder live. Amazing. I know a lot of his songs. What I'm saying is there's a lot of tracks, a lot of joints that he's done that I might not be aware of, and I want to dig more into them. And so the reason why I say that is because like I've been listening to Questlove pretty much every day, and he'll go on like a 3-day or 4 days of Stevie Wonder, 4 days of George Clinton, an entire week of all the Jacksons or New Edition. And I'm like, wow, like out of all the tracks he's playing, I might know 40% maybe. And I'm like, I want this. It's one of those things that like, when you're growing up, when you're in it, it's easy to really dive in and research and everything. And so, but now it's like, oh, I have to now, I rely on a Spotify or
Yeah, I see what
I don't
you're
have any
saying.
excuses. Don't get me. I'm not.
What about you, Angela?
I feel
Classic
like
artists that you haven't really dove into.
Cisco.
No, I've always been like, as cliche as it sounds, like I've always liked soft rock, and like for example, like Van Morrison or like, oh gosh, there's probably so many I just can't think of them right now, but there's just so many like classic, slower, maybe perhaps romantic. Fleetwood Mac would be another example of that, like where. I mean, I grew up listening to music in the basement in Chicago with my family, and my uncle was a DJ, and so he played all of the hits, like Motown and Michael Jackson and like all of those genres. But I feel like there's something to be said about that time frame of music where there was like way more. I don't know. There was just more thought to the lyrics. I feel like, and it was more relatable to your life.
Yeah.
And so,
But have you listened to a Led Zeppelin album front to back?
No.
So, but you've heard Led Zeppelin.
You are disowned, Angela.
like,
no, I just
like
haven't.
no, even fine. I'll even bring it to somebody even closer. What about Sade album front to back? That's R&B.
Myself.
Like that's a like
you're judging us
I see
so
that
bad right now.
no, but it's this thing because like I see a bunch of you where you know your music category that you like, so you invest in all those artists and you kind of listen to all their music, but then you don't like some people just don't give an effort to kind of go let me try to see what's in this genre of music and kind of just go even when we know there's like classic like artists in each category, like if you take a house music or EDM, like you've heard of Tessio or like your Calvin Harris, like all those people that have made these classic hits, or jazz. You've heard of Eric Clapton and Miles Davis. But would you go out and invest like because think about it, there's people in those categories that have no idea what we're talking about right now with how cool it was to watch DMX and Snoop Dogg. Mm-hmm. And it's just like you're missing out because you're not expanding and kind of going out to kind of learn this like other cultural kind of thing that like 2 million people plus enjoyed and reminisced and kind of had all these memories attached to all those songs. Mm-hmm. But they could say the same thing about us, like, yo, like in my genre of music, I like they're doing this live streaming. It was one of the most coolest things in this time period that kind of got me out of this funk kind of thing. So let me
tell you, actually I have a better one than Stevie. So I have to tell the story. I was out, it was a few months ago. I was out for a friend's birthday, and we ended up at Empire, and it was an all funk party. And it was Capiac was on stage. If you're not familiar with Capiac, they're a local funk band here in Austin. Really dope, talented guys. And I was high as fuck. Seriously, I had a pipe. I took an edible, and I stood right next to the sound man, which is where it sounds the best, right? And I'm standing there, and I close my eyes, and then this song comes on, and I don't recognize it at first. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, this is beautiful. This is fucking beautiful. Well, like, I don't know what it is. And then I recognized it. It was Elton John, Rocket Man. Mm-hmm. And they were doing a rendition of Rocket Man. And that's in the movie. I mean, I can't say, I've always known, people who love Elton John, they love Elton John. And I respect, I can't say that I know much about his music, but I know that he's a respected Oh, Boris. Oh, Boris, by the way, it was the edible you gave me. See Boris in the chat. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on blast, but whatever.
Well, he said.
Yeah.
Embrace cardboard metal.
Yeah, he was trying to get me into this black metal festival. Anyway, so, and I said, I started tearing up. Literally. I opened my eyes and out loud, I said, damn, I need to give me some more Elton John. Out loud. And I looked around like, oh shit, nobody heard me.
Somebody write late in the chat.
Oh yeah, of course late. I admit it,
but is it not fair to say though, like if you're talking about music and like hearing an entire album, then when we were younger, where you couldn't just go to YouTube, you couldn't just, we were subjected to these albums that you kind of did have to hear from front to back. We're talking about records, we're talking about tapes, we're talking about CDs at that point. You didn't really, there was no, then TRL started and then music started becoming it was video, not just the actual album. And so like now you're to the point where you don't have to listen to an entire album. You just get to kind of get geared towards this song, that song, this song, only the hits versus you hearing a whole album.
That's why it should be easier for people to venture out.
True.
It should be easier.
Yeah,
like back in the day, we had to like really work hard. Like you had to invest money into
Columbia House.
Each person's album. But anyways, like pivoting like from music. Well, we have Kanye updates.
Oh fuck, man!
Did he just tweet?
No. I really thought that we talked about it a couple weeks ago when we first announced that he was running for president. I thought that he was just like that he actually dropped out, like a few days later, because there's a process to even be on a ballot to run for president. And you have to get signatures. You got to get all kinds of shit. I don't know.
Was it you're the one that texted me and say that he's having a rally right now, right?
Yeah, he had a rally in South Carolina, and there were the way it was put together, it was like a last minute type deal. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. There's an article online about a guy who just wanted to go check it out because he saw it was happening. And he walked in and literally everybody started asking him, hey, what should we do? And he was just there to attend. So he had to turn into an event coordinator right then and there because he looked the part. And he told people, okay, well, there's the green room. Go make sure you set that up and then set up the stage and everything. But it was a shit show. The place actually holds 1,000 people. They had about maybe 200, a little less than that. And people thought that Kanye was going to perform. That's the main reason why people showed up.
Yeah, I knew. I could tell immediately once all this news started breaking that, because since I guess I'm tuning because I know Kanye's history. I know that he has bipolar and he has these episodes, like and this just sounded exactly like one of those episodes. So I'm like, man, to the outside, I guess from people that only hear him in news stories, they feel like, because I kept seeing a bunch of people like kind of wipe it off like, oh, guys, stop talking about it. This is a publicity stunt. Like, he's only doing this to promote his album or whatever. They're like, no, he's in a real medical crisis. It's one of those medical crises, like, typically like when somebody like has like a disorder or they're sick, they would end up like going to a hospital because there's something physically like off about them, like if they have a temperature or they're in pain or something. But his disorder is something that physically he's doing okay, but mentally, like his mind is bouncing all over the place. And it's like he looks like he's healthy, but he's not really healthy. He's supposed to be on specific medication, but at the same time, I understand his struggle with being on meds and being off of meds, because I'm currently, like, disclosure, like I'm taking antidepressants and anxiety medication, and it's there's something about those types of medications that's not something that you just take and you kind of continue on the way like you're taking a multivitamin. That actually, it changes your whole mood. It takes all your energy away, and half the medication makes you want to go to sleep. So if that's the medication that he's on, that those types of medications where he takes this so much and he's just tired of feeling that groggy or sleepy, and he just doesn't want to take it anymore. I see the frustration with not wanting to, but it's just the side effects of not taking it is you have these episodes, and when your whole family's trying to get you to help, and if you're the person trying to explain to them like, I hate how these medications make me feel, but I don't know what else to do to like not make my mind do what it's doing. He's in this like catch-22 kind of situation. So and the bad part about it is like it's like if he was a regular citizen, he could kind of go through this like in private and it wouldn't be making news headlines all over the place. But he's a famous person. His wife is like another famous person. It's like your whole struggle is like being recorded like for the whole world to see. It sucks. I have a lot of like empathy for what he's going through, what Kim's going through, the whole family. It's a rough thing to experience.
Sure.
And so take everything he's saying with like a grain of salt. Like it's not a legit presidential run. It's not a legit.
No, but hold on. I think that the problem here is not the fact that he has a mental illness, because I think it's been recorded. I think people are aware. There are two things I think that really what makes this story sad and bad. One is his track record in terms of trying to in getting attention and just for marketing purposes is there. And he has an album dropping called Donda. That's not a coincidence. And second, and the fact that he's getting that attention and everybody's going to be talking about it, it distracts everybody from what's been happening. We've been talking a lot about what's going to be the distraction, and that's what it does. That's what he did. That's what he did this time in a major way, because announcing you're running for president and then holding a rally and then wearing a bulletproof vest and talking about Harriet Tubman didn't really free the slaves. She actually got slaves to work for the white people. Like, people gonna talk about your ass. You know that. But on top of that, I think that, and Kim released a statement about bipolar and okay, but he should listen. He should have people in his corner that say, look, man, it's not a good idea. You're sucking the energy out of, you're going to be sucking the energy out of everything, one. And two, you're just going to be, you're making yourself to be a fool out there. So it's like he has no friends. He can do whatever he wants in the name of, I'm bipolar. And then nobody, I mean, if somebody is sick, I think it's their entourage or their friends or whatever to say, look, man, we got to check you in. We got to help you. This is not the way to do this. Running for president and saying crazy stuff that's going to be recorded, that's going to go viral, is not a good idea. So where are your friends at? Where is his wife at?
What about you, Angela? What do you take away from this?
So,
well, hold on, Obi. What do you?
Yeah.
Agree?
I
disagree?
have a comment, but I want to get, before I say what I want to say, like, I want Angela.
Go ahead.
I think so. Where you left off about, like, where are the friends? Where is the family? I mean, you're talking about somebody that's obviously so high profiled. Obviously, he has an entire family, including his own, including the Kardashian family. But you have to really think about what it means to say someone has a mental illness, right? Like, let's say his anxiety, his bipolarness, all of those things. In our lifetime, we've obviously met people that have those types of disorders. I can't say for myself, like, as an outsider seeing that, like, for someone else, like, you want to help. It is in a human nature to want to help other people. But at the same time, I don't know who he's around, but there are people that are fearful that if they come to him and say, hey, you really need to consider, getting therapy or, regulating your medication and making sure you take it, all those things, like, that's a touchy subject for anyone, much less someone that's close to you, which again, it's not like you can't get that support from your family, but it's also like it's almost like taboo. Like you don't want to push them over the edge by saying, hey, you should do this and you should. I can see where it could be hard for someone to approach that. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what I think.
Having yes people around you when you're like this is not helpful at all.
Like, but so my response is like, you realize his bipolar disorder, like it's not just the negative stuff you're seeing, right?
Sure.
Like when he's doing all the good stuff, when he's making all those big, that's his disorder too. It's both.
Yeah.
It's both parts. So it's kind of like,
course.
but so it's not. This is not just a.
I'm not downplaying
always,
it.
Always these.
No. I'm not downplaying it. You know, he's a genius in his own right when it comes to music. There's no denying that. And you know, when you think about it, a lot of artists, a lot of them had something fucked up in their head. That's why they were able to create that. You know, you can go back to, you know, to Michael Jackson, to James Brown, to all these greats, and you're like, yeah, there was something messed up, and that's what I mean, messed up, and in quotes. But that's what helped them, and that's how they found their muse, and that's how they're able to put out this kind of art. I'm all for that. All I'm saying is, this is not the right time, or
I mean, I agree with
to do something like that. It's especially when you know the kind of rhetoric that you've had in the past, and it's come back and bite you in the ass many times. You have a bad track record of sucking the attention and then making a fool out of yourself, and then you put out music and everybody forgives you. No, you can't have it both ways.
Well, but then there's a repercussion of that too. Like he could honestly say, you know, he's having this episode, let's call it that, right? He's having this outcry of, I can't deal with my life, or this isn't fair, or whatever's going on in his like personal life as far as his marriage. But I also feel like people think about him in a different light, like as in he doesn't really have anything to worry about, but he has all these other issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I don't know.
No, but it's not. If he was running for something else, like run for, like start your own another business or what, yeah, go do that. But we're talking about presidency. This is not nothing. You can't just throw your hat in the ring and say, I'm gonna be president, I'm gonna give $1 million to every baby.
No, but what you're saying, the running for president thing, like that disorder, it's like so when you're on the medication, that's supposed to kind of help you kind of, you know, when you all the stuff that you think in your mind, we go through like a filtering process where we know like, hey, I shouldn't say this because this is not like the right time or place to say this kind of thing. But how I'm seeing him kind of handle his disorders, all these thoughts and ideas that he just kind of has in his head, he spits them out, and he thinks these are like real things. So instead of him going through that whole check and balance that we all do when we have crazy thoughts, we want to say something that's kind of foul or savage, he's actually going out and just saying everything unfiltered and doing it like, dude, I could be president. I'm actually going to run and go out, leave his house and do it.
That's
kind of mentality. That's the only thing he's feeling right now is like, if you know you need to take a break from your meds or whatever, you should know that you need to listen to the people that are close to you, your support system, to help you through that kind of situation. You don't start taking things too far, because people are going to take you seriously. You have a big following. People are going to take you seriously.
Yeah, you got fans who will do it just as a joke. People will do this as a joke, and we don't need jokes right now.
They're not going to think that, hey, I'm just kind of venting or spitting out whatever is coming into my mind. Like, but there's an update. Like, so I guess today I saw it on TMZ that they've done this before in the past when he did his whole TMZ rant, but I think they have they're trying to stage like some kind of intervention. His family, they flew a bunch of people out to LA.
I saw
and
that.
Chappelle went to see him in Wyoming.
Dave Chappelle went to go.
They should bring in DMX to do the prayer, because DMX knows how to pray.
But hopefully it'll be enough for him to kind of snap out of it and kind of realize, hey, I need to, like, if the meds are not what I want to do right now, I need to do something, another thing. I need to avoid media right now and just really take care of myself and not lash out at, because now he's lashing out at the people close to him. He's talking about divorcing Kim, and and Meek Mill is like trying to get in between of his marriage. Like none of it makes sense. It's just like your mind is just like you're letting your mind just kind of run wild right now and just spit out all this stuff into the ether, and it'll create a lot of damage for yourself. Like,
but that's why that shit needs to be shut down right away. And
yeah,
this is and hold on. So I just want to like can extrapolate from this is that you have to think about after 4 years of Trump, you have to think about what does it mean to be president? Like, what is it like when you look at somebody, a politician or whoever, you look at him, you go, hey, you know what? This person could be president. Like, what if you were to make a list?
You're not listening though.
What?
Because you're still going on in this president thing.
No,
no, you're not. You see, you're not listening. Like he's not really talking about really being president.
No, I know,
venting.
but
he's venting with the disorder.
No. I'm talking from the outside looking in. I know what you just described was what's going on in his head, and I totally get that. But from the outside looking in, this guy said he's running for president.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how it's going to be covered. Because I don't think a lot of people talked about how he's bipolar and everything in the news. Mm-hmm. A lot of people know it, that he has mental illness and he has a track record of it, of like having those outbursts, the TMZ tape and all that shit he did. But I'm talking about from the outside, anybody who's looking at him right now is going, oh, Kanye is running for president. That's the headline. The headline is not Kanye needs help.
Yeah. But so, I believe that society is a lot smarter, and they know that, like, typically, like, has any other president got, or I mean, that with Trump, it kind of makes this a weird statement to say, because with anything is possible at this point. But nobody comes out and like runs for president, then starts blaming their wife of like 40 hours later of having an affair with somebody. Like it's just like it's like career suicide. Who does like this is not a normal thing for somebody to do. So something else is happening right now. I think the society is smarter to realize, hey, this is not like legit. Like there's something else is going on. I don't really think there are real critical thinkers or I don't I'll say it this way. I don't think there are likely voters that are taking it seriously that he is a real contender and has some real kind of policy change.
Okay,
take a party a birthday party. Take
Kanye out of it. Say tomorrow take tomorrow The Rock decides to run.
Okay.
The Rock decides to run. And he's a sane person, everybody loves him, everybody loves his movies. He has his head straight, he's very inspiring. He's a big dude, but he's one of those like everybody loves The Rock, right? Yeah. I don't know anybody who would say fuck The Rock. I never, right? Because he's a genuinely good guy.
Yeah.
And so now you're like, okay, if The Rock decides to throw his hat in the ring and say I'm going to run for president, would you go, huh, that's interesting. Yeah, let me consider that. Or would you go, wait, if there's a whole lot more to being a president than being a beloved movie star. Don't say Reagan. I'm talking about today.
That's not really the question though.
Yeah, I think it is. When you see what Trump
because the difference between The Rock and Kanye is, like you just mentioned it, Kanye has a track record of making these announcements. The Rock doesn't have a track record of making
I'm trying to move on from Kanye
statements. That's what I was saying. Like you're stuck on the president thing, and that's why. So I don't know what else.
The same. But I think with your point back, I think that you're trying to make too is that like, and I think you brought this up also, Obi, is that there are certain things and maybe accolades or experience in politics that you kind of need to possess to be president, or at least some kind of longevity with politics. And so now I feel like all these like now that Trump's in office, and yes, is he a business person? But and yes, has he been involved in politics? Of course, but not to the magnitude of being a senator or whatever. You know what I mean? Like a real part of politics in that way, to say, okay, I was an attorney, I was a part of society in this way. You were a business owner, and that is what you did. So that now it's the big question is, what is it really going to take for anyone to be president? Can Joe Schmo down the street, if you got enough money, you can run for president? Like any celebrity, because they have tons of money and tons of followings, they can be president? Like, what's really going to come of all of this? If Trump can be president, it's like the sky's the limit, I almost feel like.
Trump set the precedence that, hey, if you have enough money and people don't like look past all your faults and all the crazy shit you've done, then you can actually become president, where you have no leadership skills whatsoever.
Right.
I mean, you know, as you can all agree, you know, as everybody
I mean,
in the world can see.
Yeah, he has international ties, of course, because of his business, but that doesn't really constitute you as qualified to be president. Nor does Kanye. Again, it is always an agenda of money and power, and how many people are following you on like your Twitter. Like, it's insane.
I've had this like conversation with some really strong ride or die conservatives that voted for Trump about, is Trump president material, and I in our discussion, like Trump like this is gonna sound crazy what I'm gonna say. Trump would be a good president if our country was like in a wartime period. Like if we were like if we were in like wartime, like if it was like during World War II or World War or something like that, he might actually be a good president in that situation, because the things that really attract people to kind of liking what he does with this guy, he says what he wants. He doesn't care like what the media has to say about him. He's just gonna go and take action. He's strong. He's not afraid of making like really aggressive moves. Like if we were in war with another country that was trying to like conquer us or something, he would be a good president during that. But the problem is, elected Trump in 2016 when our country is not at war.
I disagree so hard with that.
I know, but I'm saying, but
finish your point.
Our country is not at war. What we don't need aggressive we don't need a president that's a hammer that's going to go and just bang and fix all these things. What we need is a president that's empathetic right now to like a country full of social issues. And Trump has zero negative, if you could go that far, empathy or sympathy for any other group that's not his base. So okay. he doesn't know how to handle issues like mass shootings or Black Lives Matter or Me Too move. He has no idea how to handle these types of situations because he's not a sympathetic kind of person. Right. These things are just like black or white to him.
I'm going to echo what Ethan said. He said being a president and being a good president are two different things. And it comes down to one thing: leadership.
Right.
A good leader, a good leader inspires. A good leader listens to others. Trump doesn't listen to anybody but his head. That's it. He can't even he disagrees. Even if let's say there was a war with China right now, right? Trump being Trump will not listen to the generals. He already doesn't. He will back out of any kind of, if any, he has any beef with any ally, he would, fuck that up somehow. And he will not, this is what pisses me off. Huh?
No, I was like, he doesn't know anything about compromise.
No, but just listen to the experts. Listen to science, listen to generals, listen to people who know what the fuck they're talking about. He doesn't do any of that. He just goes off the cuff and goes, yeah, just, drink some Lysol and you'll be fine and the coronavirus will be gone. I'm like, there's a doctor right there. That's her job to tell you that shit. And you think that you're all of a sudden you have a degree in science? No. And the second thing, this is what pisses me off the most, is that when in time of crisis, and it comes to making decisions, the buck stops with him, and stops with the president. It is your the nukes or going to war. Everything stops with you. So, and you have to take responsibility for shit that happens under your watch. Trump has not taken responsibility for anything. If something happens, they'll say, "Oh, it's the Democrats. Oh, it's the media. Oh, it's the other Republicans that disagree with me. Oh, it's those liberal people. It's those Antifa." It's never his fault. He can never be wrong. The interview he did with Chris Wallace last Sunday, when Chris Wallace point blank told him, like, "Look, this shit is real. You've been like downplaying this virus thing since January. Oh, there's only one case. It's gonna go down to zero. Oh, it's gonna disappear magically." You know what his response was? "I'm gonna be right eventually." Yeah. He didn't own up to any of the shit he's been saying for the past 4 months. His answer point blank was, "I'm gonna be right eventually. It's gonna go away eventually. It's not gonna, it's gonna go away." And I'm like, take fucking responsibility for your rhetoric
and with that same point, you see how he just had a press conference, and then he finally 3 months or what? Wait, 4 months later since the quarantines happened.
Yeah,
and he starts saying he starts telling the public, "Hey guys, we should really all wear masks." Like, this
exactly.
Is a good thing to
he doesn't
do.
own up to any of his mistakes.
Or like, hey guys, like, the pandemic is gonna get worse before it gets better. Like, so it takes you. Like, we waste all these other months because you refuse to like accept that you're not correct in this situation. You waste all these months to finally say the correct thing. And it's just like,
you won't even admit that you're wrong.
How many other people had to die like in that whole time while we were waiting for you to figure this shit out? For you, there's experts in your like right standing next to you that are telling you what to do, and you refuse. It's leadership, and we've all been in positions where when you're next to like a bigwig or a head of a company, and then all the other employees start acting differently because that person's in the room. Like, that's how the administration is. When they see Trump there, and he spits this ridiculous stuff, and they just feel like, oh, like, I'm this close to him, like I gotta go along with it because I like my position. I feel comfortable.
Exactly.
It's just somebody has to have courage to do what's right. And I feel like the press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, like, she's actually
better than the other one.
A really smart, a pretty smart press secretary. But I feel bad for her because she has to regurgitate this nonsense that her boss is saying on a daily basis and try to validate it some way or another. It's just like at what point do one of y'all in this room start saying like, hey, like, this is ridiculous. Like, how we can't defend this stuff anymore. Like, it's just it's out of control.
So go back to your point. Yes. Do you think that he would be a good president in a time of war when there's major life or death decisions to make?
Maybe not, but he would be better fit for it. He would be doing maybe a 2% better chance at that in that time period than he is at this time period. That's what
he's been oscillating. We're the U.S. and I say we now, which sounds weird coming out of my mouth. We were more isolated from the rest of the world than ever, thanks or because of him. Getting out of treaties, treating our allies like shit, going to trade war with China. Europe just laughs at the U.S. now. They're like, look, we can go to the movies. You guys can't because somebody at the top is fucking up, and it's. And I think that if there's one thing that this whole situation has revealed is that, America is not as strong as it claims it is.
Wait, but to be fair though, like, I've always thought this. People think that just because it's the president, like, that he's the last word. It's like, you guys don't really think that there's other people below him that are actually telling him what he should do. And then obviously he's just derailing from that. And so it's like kind of counterintuitive to say that he's not making the right decisions. He's only expressing, like you guys said, his point of view, what his narrative of what he wants to say, his opinion, how he feels it should go. But there are people that are telling him, hey, you guys should wear masks. This is just a preventative. It's helpful to everyone in the United States. This is how we feel like this will regulate the virus. Like, people are telling him to do these things, but he is like hell bent, I feel like, on just, I'm gonna do it my way, and that's it. And I mean, I don't know, like the impeachment thing, all of that. Like, what is the repercussion at this point that he is making these decisions that are less than desirable for all of us, because obviously we're still in this situation? What is the real repercussion? He's not fired. You know what I mean? Like, he's not out. He didn't quit.
Yeah, and he says that if he ends up if it loses, he'll probably won't leave.
He's already planning to appeal whatever this.
Of course, he is. He does. He wins all the time in his head. But to your point, another trait of leadership is, as a president, like, you have to set the tone. Your job, you were put in that office for a reason, because people believed in you. People think you can do things better. You can improve their lives. So even if you don't necessarily know nobody has a plan about how to fix this virus thing. There's a race to the vaccine right now all across the planet. And, there was a bunch of pharmaceutical company had to come out and say, oh, we're not going to sell this thing for profit, this vaccine for profit, because they were going to do that at first. But anyway, and now he's oh shit, I just lost my point. It will come back to me. Yes, you have to set the tone, and you have to inspire, but you're the one who's supposed to calm people. When you think about what Bush did during 9/11, like, people hated Bush, and Bush was a bad president. I mean, but you're like, you know what? This is a time where people need to get together as a nation and really work together and all that stuff. You set the tone.
Yeah,
he has done none of that. He's been more it's the Democrats and Antifa. No. You set the tone.
And
you inspire people. You like, win this together. Don't be selfish. Wear a mask from the get. But no, now it's like he wears a mask and he says he's been saying that since the get go. I'm like, no, can't fool us.
And it's like things like this, like it's like that simple action starts blowing up into things that we have, like where we are today now in Portland, where so in Portland, since the George Floyd killing, like everybody like was disgraced, like just was upset about that and started protesting. And Portland, like, has been like in all the other cities, the protests have kind of simmered down and have stopped. Like before, it was like we went like in Austin, we had 3 straight weeks of protests, but Portland has been protesting for 52 straight days since in June. And so, and it's been peaceful. They've been doing these sit-ins and things like this, but Trump being in the office, he's just like, he hates the fact that this is still going on. Like, just because you dislike a protest, there's nothing, it's peaceful. They're not destructing any property or anything. And he forms this secret troop unit to go in and just start snatching people, like without disclosing who these people are. You don't know if these people are the FBI, the CIA, you don't know who or if they're just being kidnapped by the Bugaloo or whoever it is. People dressed in camouflage gear. We saw that during the other protests when people wanted to open up the government. There's a whole bunch of you that have camouflage or military style stuff and they're being whisked away and taken into like your Hertz Rent-A-Center car and just driven off into the night some way. Like, what is this? So it's just like, and people might have, and I'm seeing this whole Reddit where they're trying to spin this and say like, oh man, these people, this person, they've been watching this person, they smashed the window or something. No, like whatever they did, like, one, these are peaceful protesters. This person wasn't attacking you. This person you didn't witness for this person destroying any property or breaking any laws, but they're protesting. They're doing their First Amendment right, a constitutional right that we all have in this country. And now you're you're snatching them up and you're preventing them from doing that thing because you don't like it. And you're whisking them and you're kidnapping them, essentially. You're kidnapping them, taking them away. This is a major issue, because I think people don't get the repercussions, because if this happens and then when they ask him about this in the White House, he takes, he's like, yeah, those are the people I sent over there. Like the governors over there were just allowing these people to keep protesting forever. How long was it going to continue? Like forever? Like, let them protest forever. If they want to protest forever, let them protest forever. If it's peaceful, they're not harming anybody, they can do it till their heart's desire. Like, you can't prevent somebody from doing that. So at this point, if we have this president that just now is this, because this is strike two. Strike one was in DC when he went and when he wanted to do that Bible photo op, and he went and tear gas and stopped those people from protesting that were standing outside the White House just holding their signs. And now you prevented those people from doing their right. They're not harming anybody. They're not attacking anybody. They're just being peaceful protesting, which is their right. And you went and now you stopped them from doing that. Strike one. Portland right now, when you're snatching up people and whisking them into all these vans. Strike two. Like, this next one is just like, now he made an announcement that he wants to start sending these troops into multiple cities, like
including Chicago.
In
all these cities.
Guess who's paying for all of that? We are.
And
all
it's
of
just
us.
like,
here's the thing.
And this is a slippery slope, because like, if we let Trump now just choose when American citizens get to kind of exercise their First Amendment right, let's fast forward. Let's say he loses this election, Biden's in office. Is it okay for Biden now to remove the right to bear arms? Because if we let Trump do this right now, that's the precedent that we as a country set. Like, there's no, you can't go back. You can't say, no, that was a different situation. Like, he had to, no. If you allow him to do this right now, where he gets to pick and choose what time we American citizens get to protest, it's our First Amendment. It's in the Constitution. If he gets to do that, the next president that we have will get to choose if we get to vote, or if we have, like, it'll be from that point on in this country, from that, whoever we elect, they get to pick and choose what we get to follow in this country. Yeah. And our country will not be the same place after that.
Well, he aspires. Let's be honest here. He aspires to be a dictator. He won't say it out loud, but when he's best friends with what's his face, Kim Jong-un, not best friends, but Kim Jong-un, and he looks at all the other dictators, and he goes, yeah, Trump 2024, Trump 2028, Trump, for decades and decades on up. You're like, that's really what you're thinking. That's really what's in your head right now. You think you can do whatever. You can sign executive orders, and then things that are just going to happen. And whoever disagrees with you, the polls are fake. If they're not in your favor, anybody who says anything bad about you is punished, and everybody who says something good about you is promoted. That's where we at now. So yeah, Obi sharing a video here of the Portland protest, and he's saying, Trump is saying, hey, it's all because of the liberal Democrats. That's the reason why we're here. That's the reason why I'm sending all this federal police into those cities.
Yeah, and it always breaks down to like this politics. It's past politic lines at this point. It's not. It shouldn't only be Democrats that are offended, or Republicans, or whichever group you want to break it up into, because we all have the exact same rights. Like, at this time, like, all people that have been kind of shouting, oh, we're gonna turn into this communist or tyranny and all this stuff. Like, it's weird that the person that supported your cause, and I got to this point last night where I started realizing this, like, because a big group of us, we all think that, like, oh man, it's the Trump voters are the ones doing this, sort of come Republican. Like, I finally realized it's not really their fault, because they have views on certain issues that take it or leave it. Like, some of them you might disagree with, some of them you might agree with. Like, it's
Wait,
that's how we compromise on different issues. But when you have somebody that comes into your group and kind of camouflage, and they say, hey, I feel the same way you do, but then when they go into that job and they start not doing the things that you thought they were going to do, at that point you have to it's like you have to stand up for, hey, you're not promising the things that we thought you were going to promise. Like you're camouflage, you're trying to act like you're one of us, but you're not really one of us. Like he's not really Republican or conservative. Like he's just a straight narcissist. He's just trying to play the part. Yeah, you're playing. He's like playing dress up.
Exactly.
And the people that are supporting him, they're still under the impression that he believes what I believe. He thinks that I like all the stuff that I'm trying to promote.
Go to his golf courses.
No.
Support him? Do you really think they'll welcome him at his hotels?
But yeah, that's why and it's just kind of, and both sides are so busy kind of trying to point out, oh, you're being a hypocrite because look at this situation. No, you're being a hypocrite because look at this situation. Yo, at this given point in time, we need to stop talking about like who cares. Like we're both hypocrites. Let's be done with it. But he's really fucking up our constitute, like the foundation of this country right now. Like you remember John Mathis, the general that resigned when he attacked those protesters. This is a guy that's been in our military for decades, just like in so many war battles. And this guy, he got to the point where he's realized, yo, this president is a threat to the whole foundation of this country. The whole, like, and you can't say you stand for everything the military. This is one of the most decorated military vets in our nation's history, and even he can't co-sign on what you're doing right now because you're really putting everything in jeopardy right now. You're removing people's First Amendment right.
And hold on. You sound very passionate about this. That was a long
I'm sorry. It's so
it just
bad.
took over the podcast. I'm like,
it's so bad. Yeah, but I know.
And you're the one who said it'd be great for wartime.
I know.
I know what you mean.
Are you rethinking this now? When I'm
rethinking
executive general saying this dude is dangerous. If that's not enough to tell you this motherfucker should not be in that office, period. Let him run his pageants and let him be on TV to say crazy shit or call on Fox News just to give his opinion. He was harmless back then. You know, he talks about cancel culture today because people trying to cancel him, but he's tried to cancel people so many times over the past, his entire life. And you're like, how can you really, okay, the people who support him, there's no change in them.
No,
there's no changing them. There's no point. If at this and there's actually a lot of groups, and I saw on Facebook, on Twitter, that are like, "Hey, we are Republicans, but we're against Trump." And a lot of those people who voted for Trump in 2016, and are now realizing that this dude's a fraud. It took him that long. Better late than never. But because if there's one thing that the whole coronavirus has exposed is how the lack of leadership that we have in this country, not just that, there's lack of leadership and there's incompetence. Yeah. And you're 100 days away from an election. So you're willing to do whatever it takes to appear like the tough guy. And, nobody wants to talk about his track record on the coronavirus situation. It's like, oh yeah, let's go after these kids in Portland. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So nobody can tell me that, the cases are going up. Well, if the cases are going up, is because we're testing so much. I'm like, no. That's not how this shit works. You're now exposed for who you are and you can't stand it. And so now you're looking for things to distract everybody. And in a way it works. It works.
Yes, but I think, man, oh man, I just feel like y'all are giving him way too much credit. Like there obviously is a separation of state with everyone chose to open the country at their own time. But that's what right. But that's not. I'm not defending him. But believe me, I'm saying is you're picking that he could have done this. He could have been more compassionate. Texas government, the governor could have said, hey, he could have had compassion and said, we should stay closed longer. We should have lockdown longer, just like California, just like all these other states that did stay closed. And here we are like, oh, the great state of Texas, and we're opening. That's not Trump saying do or don't. That's us as a state saying.
True.
Yeah, but these also people looking out for their political careers.
Yeah, that's
It's
what
like
started.
you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
It started like because it started like with Greg Abbott. He like when
Governor
Trump
Wheels.
kind of when he said, "Hey, no, I think our government should start opening up by Easter or something," and then and Greg wanted to be the first one to kind of follow suit, and so did the Georgia governor.
Yeah.
And all those people. So, but now when we have this spike and where we've seen the aftermath of what happened, now it's like now you have the courage to go against Trump and like, hey guys, this is a bad idea. I'm shutting down everything.
It's too late.
Yeah, nice.
Mind.
Thank you for doing this all late and after the fact.
Yeah, because there's backlash now, and I think that it's actually a good thing that really what matters is what matters in your city and what matters in your county.
Right.
What happens at the federal level it only goes so far. But at the end of the day, if the mayor of Austin goes, yo, we're gonna mandate this mask shit, and you're gonna get fined if you don't have one, and we're gonna shut down everything else, and that's my decision because I think that's what's best for us. And I don't care what the fuck you gotta say. You gotta understand that this is for the better. Then that's good. No matter what Governor Will says, no matter what Trump says.
Okay. Okay. So to be fair too, like, so we keep talking about this whole scenario about leadership, right? Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example of how, I was in another country in the middle of March, rather, and I felt like, we're going on this trip. We're going to Guatemala. It's great. It was, we had
what country?
Capacity. No. What I'm getting at is we're talking about leadership. While we were there, they shut down the borders of that country. So we weren't able to come back right away. And so in my head, I'm thinking, like, what is the president of this country saying? Like, we obviously have to figure out what's going to happen. They have literally locked down that entire country. I'm talking about curfews on, you can't go out on certain days if your license plate reads this color. I mean, there's none of that here. And so if we're really talking about leadership, I feel like, and I have 2 points with this, is that president of that country, I felt like he cared about his people and he cared about what was going on in that country.
Do you name the country?
It's Guatemala, I said.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Yeah. And so, beautiful place, by the way, if anyone ever gets to go there, you would love it. And so, but with that being said, all of those precautions have been put in place, and yet they still have cases going up and up and up in that country. It has not plateaued. So I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if it's lock it down for a month, everybody, no one, no stores, nothing.
No, there's no plan. Nobody has a plan.
But Angela, if that president didn't do that, imagine how, like, since they still have cases now, imagine how much how bad it would have been if it wasn't done in the first place.
Yep.
Right.
It would be way worse than what's appearing right now. That's the same thing that's the same thing the New Zealand prime minister did, where they only had, when this started back in March, they only had 5 cases in Australia, 5 COVID cases. And they
in New Zealand.
In New Zealand. And they shut down everything. Like there, like it looked like a ghost town, and like everything was closed, all the businesses, nothing was there. And they stayed closed for 2 months, like up until like the middle of May, and then they finally released the stay-at-home order. And everyone was like, at the time, was giving her all this shit, like this is a hoax, like there's no outbreak happening. But she was a strong, like, at certain times, like, you can't always be like the good guy.
Right.
So people, like, if you really care about people and protecting them, you can take on that burden and just handle all those daggers. That's the same thing the Michigan governor's doing when she put that strict stay-at-home order in Michigan. They've stayed like that for how long? Andrew Cuomo did the same thing for New York. And Trump was saying, reopen New York back up. And he's like, no, I love these people. I'm protecting them. This is for the better of everybody. I know y'all will hate me right now, but It's trust me, in the end result, you're gonna appreciate this. And look how better they're in, how much better shape they're in now. We can't even get to New York because they're safe. They did the right things. Michigan is way better. New Zealand's way better. Like that, because they're not these narcissists that only think about themselves and their career. Like they're thinking about their actual constituent. Like they're people that they represent.
So here's what happened in Georgia. The governor was like, we cannot mandate masks. It's a personal decision you make. Like you go out at your own risk. I can't tell people to put on a mask. You know, freedom. We're Americans. Blah blah blah. The mayor of Atlanta, I forgot her name. Yeah, Keisha Lance. There we go. Keisha Lance was like, you know what? I'm going to mandate masks in Atlanta. This is not. We have to do something about it. And now the governor is suing her ass.
Yeah.
Why?
So just a petty political move.
You're like something that should not be political at all. It has become this very polarizing issue where you're liberal tree hugger if you put on a mask, and you're a freedom hater, and if you don't put one on, then you're this free person, free thinker, and you know better about science. Like no.
Dude, our society has gotten to this point where people, they cannot separate what's political and what's not political. Like I could there's some people that I know that you could have a debate with them like, hey, which one do you like better, Freebirds or Chipotle? And I would say Chipotle. Like, of course a liberal would say Chipotle. Dude,
this goes deep.
So really, like every single thing in your life is political. There's no other conversation that you could have that's not political. I'm like, I see people like that. Like they're so ingrained in all their ideas and thoughts that they don't want to compromise at all because they think that you're making fun of them or calling them like they have no way to separate it. It's the craziest thing. It's the craziest thing.
But at the end of the day, I feel like all of these things, the president, the governors, the mayors, the whoever, it really. Yes, should they take the accountability for what they're mandating, what they're recommending, what the CDC is saying, all those things. But at the end of the day, like, let's be honest, it is everyone's, like, this whole situation requires everyone to cooperate. And that's just not what's happening, period. As everyone, I mean, I live in the downtown area, for example, and sometimes for work, I have to drive around, and I look around and I'm seeing people congregating on a lake or hanging out on kayaks without masks and whatever. Like there's just so many people out and they're not wearing a mask, they're not social distancing. Everyone is making their own choice of how they want to live their life, which is fine. But if you're not going to be safe, then we're all fucked. You know what I mean? It's a huge difference between saying I want to do what I want versus being safe. Like it is, I feel like it is not black and white. You either want to be safe or you don't give a shit and you're just going to do whatever you want. And it all boils down to us as people, humans. And that's not just in America, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
There's this video, let's see if I can play it real quick. So is these two comedians, they look like, like dude bros. They go to Huntington Beach in California. That's Orange County, right?
Yeah.
And they have a box of masks, free masks, and they're walking down the beach and they're going, hey, we got free masks. Here's one, why don't you wear a mask? And some of the shit that people say, some of the shit that people respond to them is insane.
Yeah.
Let me share this real quick, because this is like there's no way. But yes, stupidity doesn't discriminate.
Here for the mask shortage. We've got masks.
2 Orange County men got more than they bargained for when they tried to hand out free masks and record it all last week in Huntington Beach.
You don't need one? Why not?
I don't know if anybody has ever explained to you that breathing your own carbon monoxide is not healthy.
I heard about that, but I heard about this other thing.
Called coronavirus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not afraid. I know where I'm going when I die. You guys?
I don't know.
No, I'm not.
The sky?
Hopefully to a pokey shop.
Where do you go?
Going up.
Oh, you don't want to go to hell, do you? No, that sucks.
Tonight we spoke with Chad.
So this other guy almost was like, oh, I breathe the sea air, so the sea salt is actually helping me. I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
And that
Why?
and the core of it is because that they put that issue, they made that issue political to themselves. They're like, no, this side, the left is for masks, the right is against masks. They don't look at any other way that it can be. Like, they don't think of it as a public health issue.
I just don't understand, like, what the hell, like the fact that people actually think, I mean, okay, masks are not gonna like choke you out with carbon. You're breathing your own carbon monoxide. I mean, doctors wear and nurses wear masks all day long. I wish people would just shut the fuck up about that. It's not a thing. You can
Your
still
dentist wears masks because your breath stinks.
I mean, geez.
I even saw a meme like that a guy that we know posted, and he says like all these different industries where they have different masks, and they're all like the kind of big face shield ones that have like gas,
like mining and stuff.
like those big. And then this corner in the bottom said like, oh, the most dangerous virus, and it just shows like a regular mask, but it's what he took. It's just kind of like your defense to not wearing a mask is like, are you better fighting a virus with nothing covering all your openings, or with something there, even if it's
there's no
paper thin,
no rationalize. There's
like,
no trying to rationalize this shit.
It like, if you, that's the option, you either have 0% covering your mouth or nose, or you have something. It's not 100%. We're not saying that the mask is 100% fail-safe proof.
Right.
But it's better. It could give you a 25% chance of protection versus 0% with no mask at all. You rather go 0%, like, no, if it's not going to be 100%, I'd rather not wear it at all. Like, what kind of logic is that?
I'll tell you what. Here's something that these people don't have that we have: logic.
Yeah.
Logic. That's all it is. You know, it's scary when you hear the press secretary go, "We will not let science get in the way of reopening the schools." Like that sentence alone, we will not let science get in the way of reopening the schools.
If I was in that room, I would stand up and walk out. Like, I give up.
I gotta go.
Nothing I could say will get through to you.
Well, I have a question on that note. Like, obviously, back, we know you have a little baby boy. But what's y'all's opinion on
I'm coughing.
Corona? What's your opinion on sending kids back to school? Like, I mean, I obviously have my own opinion because I have a lot of relatives that are teachers. But what's your opinion on that?
Well, luckily, I mean, in my case,
Sure.
or just in general.
Let's do your case and then in
So,
general.
in my case, my son is going to go to a French school here in Austin. Like it's really small. They only have like 45 kids in the entire building, and the sanitary protocols that are put in place today because of the virus, they've been doing that for 5 years, and the classes have about 5 to 7 kids per class, and they rotate in the building. They never cross paths.
You so bougie. You think French people ain't gonna get corona or what?
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying that when it comes, because here's the problem with reopening the schools is that nobody from at the top has said, look, if you're going to reopen the schools, here's what you need to do. That's what the problem is, because they reopen schools in France, they reopen schools in Europe, but they said here's the plan. You gotta have, like, when it's recess time, the kids gotta be apart, or here's how your classroom used to be laid out. This is how you lay it out now.
But those things are unrealistic when you're talking about children.
No. Well, hold on. There's reopening daycares versus reopening like middle school, high school type stuff.
Yeah.
So let's not put those in the same. I mean, colleges are not reopened. I mean, no, daycares are not reopened. But what I'm saying is, unless someone comes up with a plan and said this is based on the data, based on experts, based on everything, here's how it would operate. So you need to have I don't know, Clorox wipes at every table. The tables need to be 5 feet apart, 6 feet apart, and you can't have recess with all the classes outside together. Parents need to get tested before, or you should like scan their, like no parents is allowed inside the school, for example. Little things like that that could be implemented, and that would at least minimize the risk. It's not like there's going to be zero risk, no matter how you slice and dice this thing. But nobody has a plan. What they're saying right now is just, reopen the schools. They'll figure it out. That's basic. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, I have like my thoughts on school reopenings is just because I've given this like a lot of thought.
You're a thinker.
We can't just like we can't just not live our lives because of coronavirus. Coronavirus is here to stay.
Yeah.
So
you in 2021,
in terms of like, and so in terms of everyone has to go back to school, like from all levels, from like elementary to like college. What I think should happen, you should put people in 2 different tiers. Like you should have your people that don't have any like life-threatening kind of like underlying diseases. Go back to like school. Let's say that's tier A. Go back to whatever school they have with just basic COVID guidelines, like hand sanitizer, possibly wearing masks,
wash your hands every hour,
and washing masks and temperature checks. So if somebody shows up to school that has a temperature, you send them home for the day or something. Basic. Just do basic, because those people, like, I mean, you like, yes, of course there's going to be asymptomatic people. Like there's nothing you can do about asymptomatic people. That's on that person's discretion. But then let's have this other tier B group, and let's call them the high risk group. People that do have underlying like conditions, and let's put like a program like for whichever, no matter which school they go to, every single school comes up with like a high risk learning plan where they all either are taking their classes all online, where they're kind of put at minimal risk of kind of getting COVID and putting their health at risk, or they're actually attending school all in the class together, but they have stricter COVID guidelines where these people have to be tested every 2 days, or they have to kind of their classrooms are spaced 6 feet apart from each other. Like and let the parents are the final judge for
if
which
you're not comfortable
one
with that, then
whichever would you put your kids in, whichever one you're more comfortable with. For the ones that think your kids will be okay, that this COVID is not going to take them out or hurt them that much, put them back into school with just basic guidelines. That's their group. The kids that have these other health conditions that are super like sensitive, the school will provide a more advanced like safety measures and proceed that way. It's not this like everyone's looking for this like cookie cut way to over.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not where like the parents have to manage. You know your kids' conditions. Some have peanut allergies. Some have this. Some have lupus. Some have whatever it is. You know the strength of your kid.
Well, here's the reality, Obi. What you just outlined is a better plan than anything that's been proposed right now. Because when Betsy DeVos, her dumbass, goes on TV and they ask her, "So what's your plan?" They go, they need to go back to school, and we actually will take away funding for schools that don't reopen."
Yeah, it's just
and you're like, how do you?
And they turn it back into something political again.
Right.
Yeah, the Democrats. It's the Democrats. They want to close the schools. I do a Trump impression. I don't know how good it is. But
that was pretty good.
Everything is not like these are public health issues.
Fake news. It's fake news. I'm telling you. Okay. Okay.
Here's your lips a little.
Excuse me.
And Betsy, and when we had the conversation earlier about like, our leadership. She is prime, like exhibit A.
He knows
of,
nothing.
Of somebody that she got her job because she donated a lot of money to the Trump campaign, and
She's doing a fantastic job.
She bought her position. She bought her position. You're not even.
Yeah,
you
she's
know
some
nothing
rich
about
bitch.
this. You literally bought. I wish I had money. I could just buy my position. Like let me buy being the CEO of Amazon and call it a wrap. Like no, like it's so weird when somebody
But
has
you know
no
what?
qualifications, but
Sorry,
they make
Angela, go
all the
ahead.
rules.
Oh, sorry. So I just wanted to add one more question to that question. Like, so then, really, what is the opportunity here for the parents that work? Like, what if you don't have the option to stay at home with your kid? What if you yourself have to go to work?
It's
what's
not a.
really the, you know what I mean?
That's
Like, what?
Yeah, I mean,
that's
look.
that's why I said there has to be like this tier B that the schools provide like a more advanced
You know
setting
what?
for those.
What I would do, and maybe Marcy's listening. I don't know, but I'll probably hear about that later. So I think that if you can't have daycares are closed, you can't send your kid back to school, then you rely on your community. So you talk to your neighbors, for example, or you talk in your neighborhood and you go, hey, let's all get tested, or let's help each other out. So we're lucky because Bakery's nanny can watch him like twice a week so that we can work. And she's been tested. She's not doing it. She's not going anywhere. And, we trust her. But I think if this kind of get together happens more within your community, within your neighborhood, and you go, okay, come up with a plan with your neighbors and say, okay, you're gonna go play next door so mommy and dad can work, and then the next day we'll rotate with your kids or whatever, something, so that parents can get a relief. But it's got to be clear. People got to you can't deal with families that don't wear masks, for example. And I think that's where it starts. If it can't be done at this federal, state, or city level, then it's on you to organize.
Yeah.
Snyder makes a point.
Said, yeah.
Currently, they're going to have students 6 to 8 per class. Students
and
are moving classes. Teachers move around. Yeah, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
That's a good idea.
And teachers wear masks, or kids in upper classes have to wear masks because they might be more susceptible to carry it, even if they're asymptomatic.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's a peer that is in the photobooth community that basically his kid got it and at a party and then brought it home and got the entire family infected.
There you go.
Not to mention now that the guy the father is on life support. Like this, I mean, he was on a ventilator. I mean, now he's not, and he's getting better. But like, I mean, my God, you just every day you go outside, it's a risk. 100%.
You know what's interesting is that, and I saw an article about how influencers are throwing these parties now. Like Jake Paul, whoever the fuck that guy is, the guy from YouTube.
Yeah, this is the second time I've heard his name today.
Yeah, like he threw a big party at his house, and like all these like Instagram models and all that stuff, like they throw these parties. Every once in a while, you see these videos of huge groups of people getting together, usually young folks in their 20s, who are less susceptible to carry it. No, not necessarily. Sorry, not to carry it, but to get sick. Who gets it? No, to get sick and to show symptoms, but they go home and get and pass it to their entire family. And so it's weird that these are people who I don't like the term influencer, but that's what they're called. These are people that other people look up to and want to model their lives after. And here they are going, the virus, whatever. I'm having a party. Yeah, everybody's been tested, or probably not. Nobody wears a mask, and everybody's drinking, and Kids even throwing these. You ever heard of those Corona parties? Have you heard of those?
Like the kids in Lakeway.
Like they get
Yeah.
together and see who's gonna catch it. Like some kid died and his last words were literally, "I thought it was a hoax," and then
Yeah.
Jesus.
it's sad. I mean, if one thing is gonna take this country down is the lack of trust in science and the lack of trust in authority or in the lack of leadership. That's three things. But mostly it's like you don't believe in experts.
I was just on a Zoom call with people before we started this show, and one of the conversations we were talking about was the vaccine, and just took a quick poll, like how many people are going to get the vaccine, and less than 50% of the people are going to planned on get the vaccine.
Yeah, we talked about it here.
I don't want to do it.
I know, back, but it's just like where it's like, but it's just it's like when this vaccine actually comes out, I feel like we're gonna be in a bad point, because that vaccine is basically gonna act like this placebo for the country. Once we get the vaccine, people are gonna think like, okay, everything is all good, we could go back to normal, but majority of the people are not gonna take it. So we're going to have this big flare up of this all over again, because so many people distrust science, and they distrust the company that made the thing. Like, it's just
so I have 2 cents about that. Okay, so I'll give you, and I'll be totally candid here. I have never taken the flu shot. I mean, I probably did when I was a kid, right? Because you had to go to school or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as an adult, I've not done it. I've never gotten the flu.
And do you plan on taking this vaccine?
No.
Back, what about you?
I'll take it.
Really?
I plan on taking the vaccine. Yes.
No, the problem is not taking it. The problem is having access to it. That's what's going to suck. Because, like I said, all these companies are going, we're going to sell it for profit. There's going to be a price tag, and I guarantee you, athletes, actors, celebrities, politicians, they're all going to get it first. And then the people on the street are going to get it last, because you have to have health insurance, and if you don't have health insurance, you're fucked. And then the insurance companies are going to want to get a piece of that. And so there's going to be, like I said, this situation, this pandemic has revealed so much about the legal system, the healthcare system, the unemployment system, the housing system, all of the social system, a lot of things, a lot of infrastructure that we thought, they were not great, but they worked somehow. We've made it this far. And now it's like, holy fuck, we have to rethink everything. And
can I ask you this question? What is your reason for not taking the vaccine, Angela?
The coronavirus one or regular?
Yeah, when the COVID vaccine.
Out.
Why are you planning on not taking it? Or why were you planning on not taking it?
I haven't really thought that through per se.
Because there's a reason you're saying no. What is the reason?
That would be the reason I don't trust it.
You don't trust it.
And also to the point of that is that it's frustrating for me to always acknowledge this. Like, I know that it's a virus. I know you can't kill a virus, but I guess you can to some degree, because if you're selling, medications sanitizing things that kill virus, right? So then how can we not kill this virus? Like, how can we not cure this? And that's really ultimately what you said about the health. We're realizing all of this. Like, why isn't the emphasis on how can we cure the virus, or cure you, not with a vaccine, with a cure? Why not? Why isn't that being explored? Why aren't they saying, if you take this pill,
is that what the vaccine is?
The cure is the vaccine.
Yeah.
That's not a cure.
The cure is in your body. Your body is making the cure. The vaccine is taking a controlled dose of what that virus is. So you're not overwhelmed. Your body is not overwhelmed by just you going out and meeting with random people, and now you get your whole body is overwhelmed with COVID. Just plan ahead. take a small dose of like the flu vaccine. Get the small dose of the flu where you're not going to be out for a week, like some out for weeks because your body just got overwhelmed by it. Just take a small dose. Your body makes all the antibodies to fight it and defend itself. So now you're protected moving forward.
Right.
Like
so Snyder said, I don't get flu shots either. Probably won't get COVID either. If
I
you can
agree
comment,
with Kat though. That first,
not the first.
I think of it. I think of
but
it
that's
like
what
a
everyone.
firmware update.
That's what
Or-
like even the people that are saying that they're gonna take it. That's what everyone's stance is. They're like, I don't want to take the beta version. I want to wait till
2.0.
the 2.0 comes out.
No, I'm not a 2.0. The 1.1 would be fine. If there's a hot fix for it, I'll take the hot fix.
I'm just gonna stay my ass at home. How about that?
But why? But
We'll never
but,
see
but,
you
but,
again,
see,
Angela.
but back, why do that? Because if you believe in science, do you not believe that the science will get this one right?
Well,
Why will this science be wrong and then the 2.0 be correct?
I don't know.
It's
weird. It's weird.
It's the same thing because it's a year. Because see, now you have the same logic Angela has. It's like
No,
this
Angela
whole
said she won't take it at all. I said
So
I'll
the
take
whole
it.
but it's coming from mistrust. You don't trust it, and she doesn't trust it. So
Do you
it's just
trust our
like,
government right now, or I don't know. There's just so
And
many.
honestly,
I
I
trust
don't even think
science.
I honestly don't think that whatever. Well, I don't know. I don't want to put that out. Well, I'll just say it, but I don't think that's what's gonna be. But like I said, it won't be about the quality of the vaccine itself and how effective it is. It's more about whatever's gonna come out, who's gonna get it first, and is it going to be accessible to everybody? Which I don't think it will be. So
from gauging from how many people say they're not going to take it, I think we're going to have a plethora of vaccines because so many people not trust it.
Let's put it this way.
That's fair to say.
Let's say there is a race happening right now in England, in France, even in Africa. They're working on that, and they didn't have that many cases compared to the U.S. But they're not on the same testing level as we are. Point is, whoever going to get there's going to be maybe a Chinese vaccine, a French vaccine, a German vaccine, an American vaccine.
Yeah,
which one do you get? Now, if you say I don't trust the China one because it came from there, and then you go, wait, hold on. If it came from there, maybe they have a better idea of I don't know. So
because that's what I'm like. That's what's like. There's so many different companies working on this vaccine. Like, can you list one of those companies right now that's making the vaccine?
I can't. I can't right now. I have to look it up.
Because
I know different countries are.
But I said it because because both of y'all gave me the answer no, that I'm not going to take it. Like, if the reason was no, I'm not going to take it because so-and-so, like, let's call this Equifax company. I know it's not Equifax, but let's say,
yeah, right.
It just sounds like a medical company, but it's not a medical. But let's say they make the vaccine, like they have a bad track record with making vaccines.
Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Pfizer. No, Pfizer's not
Pfizer.
But they're probably going to sell it.
Pfizer,
Moderna,
the same one that makes Viagra, is going to be making a vaccine.
Yeah, do you trust that shit? Because Viagra works.
Man, maybe they'll
Sinovac.
Probably add something else extra with that vaccine. They'll probably make you aroused while you take it.
You know what? They're going to accidentally get it. They're going to try to fix something else, and they'll go, oh, yeah, guess what? This also fixes this. And by the way, the side effects are this was going to end death.
For some reason, that company always likes to make their medications do 50-50. It does this and it does this. Like, yo, I didn't come here for a BOGO. Like, what is this?
Oh, Pfizer is working on it. Pfizer is working on it, correction.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, so every country is going to have one, right? So that means that it's like, this is what it will be like. It's like going to CVS and getting something for your allergies. You're faced with all these different things that have different packaging and different, not saying it's going to be available at a CVS, but it's the same concept in the sense that everybody's going to have a vaccine and you'll be like, which one's the right one? Which one works for me? Because some people go Advil, some people go Tylenol, some people go some other shit. Some people
what people always choose? Whichever one's the most expensive. because they'll think that must be
Exactly.
that must be the one that's correct, because
Wait,
it
hold
must
on,
be
hold on, hold
expensive
on.
for a reason.
Do you trust the CVS vaccine?
No,
Exactly. Do you
but for
trust
some
the
reason,
Walgreens brand?
whenever you get sick, you always go for that. Oh, give me the one that's 15. That
Okay.
must be the strongest thing, and I want this to go away now. So I'm not gonna get this $4 one. I'm gonna go for the $20 one.
So
No
you'd
generic,
buy
generic.
Braun before buying the HEB toilet paper, paper towels.
I
right?
look at the ingredients and we look at both of them. I was like, these are the same exact ingredients, but this box is pink and this one is blue.
This one's the top shelf. This one's. I mean, there's going to be a whole marketing, effort just to market. I don't think they'll have to market it really, but if each company, and they're just saying now that, hey, we're not going to do this for profit, but come on,
Of
you know how much money you'd make? That dude, that farmer bro who jacked up prices for that medication, like he's able to do that. And
that's why they do all the
stopping them
stocks
from doing it.
That's why the 8 companies that are working on this vaccine, they all their stock prices all jumped up, because it's like playing the lotto. You have 8 shots to like guess which one is going to be the one that's coming out with this vaccine first, so I could get this big surge in money when this thing hits the market. Dude, any of them, like once all of them come out, eventually you'll make your money back in the stock market, because
you will. But
it's a market. But at the same time, because that aspect is there, it's just part of real life. That's why people are like, man, look it. This proves my point. They're only in to make money. But at the same time, they're still using science it has to do what it says. That's why we have the FDA to kind of regulate. But that, I guess that's the one that might be the one valid point people might have for distrusting it, because they went and cut through all that red tape to kind of speed it up so we could get it faster. So we kind of get our whole economy back to normal, that they're not going through all the rigorous testing with it to make sure.
Exactly. So do you trust that batch? If they go, we want to be right. We want to be the first, not right. We want to be the first.
Because even though we don't have that checks and balance, I think there is still another form of checks and balance with it, which is there's so much worldwide attention on this vaccine. It would be so foolish to try to rush out your other side projects and claim that's the vaccine. That would bankrupt your company. You would face crimes for putting out something that would actually hurt people in doing that. So I feel like as a safety for a company, you would want to ensure that this is safe for people to use, and you're not gonna jeopardize. Like if this is like some other hidden medication that just kind of got snuck into the market, this is the number one waiting medication that people are waiting for. That's the check and balance that I'm trusting right now.
Well, Charmaine is clowning us in the comments, saying we don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
What does she mean? What like about what?
About the vaccine and everything. But all I'm saying is this: if it was, so Germany's working on one, UK, China, Australia, and of course the US. If it was like hey, let's take the best doctors, the best scientists out of all the countries. There's got to be some kind of international group or something. Say, hey, you guys, we're going to give you the best, all the resources you need. We're going to get you all the personnel, all the equipment you need, and we're going to put you in this building, and you're going to figure this shit out all together as scientists, not as I'm German, I'm British, I'm US, and I represent Pfizer, and I represent Merck, Merck & Co. It's that would give people more hope, and I think more pause about going, hey, I don't trust this shit. But now that it's turned into a competition, Anyway, we've been talking for a while now. I guess some I hate to stop it on this because I think this is very interesting. And again, we're no scientists. We don't claim to be.
After the show.
How we feel. Yeah. After the show, we're gonna be talking somewhere. Real quick.
When have they had all three of us together? Sorry.
What's your dope shit to share, Obi?
Oh, you just sprung it on me. Go. I don't know. You share yours.
Okay, I'll share mine. There's this guy on Instagram. It's called The Questions Hip Hop. It's a hip hop trivia show that he does one-on-one with, like with artists. Like he had Questlove. He had Just Blaze tonight. He's had like Skills and Peter Rosenberg, Joe DeRosa, the comedian, and it's like a trivia game where it's like here I play a sample. Well, guess who sampled this? Here's a little piece, a snapshot of a album cover. Like tell me what the album is. Here's another trivia about rapid fire type of stuff. And it's very, if you're a hip hop fan, it's a lot of fun. He moved it to Twitch. It's called The Questions Hip Hop. Just look it up on Instagram and on Twitch. I think he does it every other day or something like that. But it's very interesting. So that's my dope shit for the week.
That is dope.
What do you got, Angela?
Okay, so mine's kind of cheesy, I guess, because obviously we're limited on the fact that we can't travel. But I ended up stumbling upon this website called World Nomads. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that.
Nope.
Basically, it's like a kind of like a feedback setup where you can basically talk about your travels. Obviously, it talks about coronavirus and like the travel bans and what you can expect while you're in this said country, whatever. And they actually have it like classified like per country. You can like see what there is to do there, what to do's and don'ts. Also with the whole COVID thing inspired in there, there's manifestos from like different travelers. Like it's pretty cool. Again, it's worldnomads.com, but it's not anything specific. There's no agenda of me putting that. It's just more, actually, I guess I can screen or share my screen.
Got it.
Oh, okay. And so that's it. I thought it was pretty cool. I explored it a little bit, but there's some agenda to it, like traveling with like travel insurance, things like that. But most of it.
Want to hop on a plane right now?
No, I'm not talking about now. I'm just saying, like in the future, it's a pretty good like little website that you can go to and kind of share your stories with other fellow travelers. But that's a long way away. But I thought it was cool.
Cool, thanks. Obi, what you got?
There's this cool place in Austin called Wonder Space. Have y'all heard about Wonder
Yeah,
Space?
I saw it on Instagram. Is it a museum or something?
It's like a light installation.
Oh
In this
yeah.
building, like here, like and it looks so dope to me that I want to go check this place out. Like it has like these cool, like a cool room like this.
Oh, that was in John Wick, dude. That looks so cool.
Yeah, that's actually what that room reminds me of. Like there is a room like that in that movie, but like, and it has different rooms that kind of look like this. And I just thought it was a cool thing. Like if you want to just get out of the house, and I think you're allowed like one at a time, so you're not surrounded by a massive amount of people. But like I thought it was something cool to go check out. And
that is tight.
Then bonus dope thing. Mike Tyson's back. He's gonna be fighting Roy Jones Jr. in September. So I am definitely gonna be watching that. Everyone else should too. It's gonna be amazing to see Mike Tyson back in the ring.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite fighters ever.
He'll whoop some ass. I hope. This dude can still. Oh man.
I just wanted to say and ask if like anyone that's watched tonight, like if you guys have any like cool articles to share with us about like, credible information. I would love to see that.
Oh, Sean May's the expert now, so she gonna send us some shit. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Everybody who commented, thank you for your
Paul Erickson's been with us.
Paul's in the house. Cat's in the house. I saw Boris earlier.
Marcus Hewitt.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Snyder too.
Ethan.
Yeah, we shout out all of our friends. People are like, who the fuck are these people?
Nice. Yeah, all these names that dropped in.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a lot of old school.
Yeah. All right, so Obi, thank you as always. Angela, you want to plug your shit? Do you have anything you want to plug, or people find you, or you're not doing
No.
Big photo booth? You don't want to plug?
Big photo booth? You want to set up a photo booth?
You can reserve for next year.
Hey, you can set up in the park. Like, put your shit in the park. People, I mean, hopefully. I don't know.
No,
Paul, plug your thing in the chat.
Yeah.
All right. As always, make sure you follow the FeedBak on the social medias everywhere. I just released 2 episodes this week featuring Kimberly K. Scott. Really interesting. We talked about mental illness. We talked about homelessness. We talked about saving money. I mean, it was all across, all over the place. But it was a great conversation. Shout out to Kim.
We talked about a lot today too.
Yeah.
Huh?
We talked about a lot today too.
Yeah, we did.
I know there's like so much now that we've done this, like just bringing it back to old school of our conversations. Like I just feel like there's so much more to talk about.
Like, we could go for hours.
I know.
We're about to reach 2 right now, and I'm trying to keep it on around 1:30. But these are good topics to talk about.
Yeah.
You know.
Angela, you realize that FeedBak hit 10 years today. I mean, this year.
It will this year, yeah, October. The launch was in October.
We've been doing this for 10 years.
And we have not changed at all.
We should do a virtual party.
Oh, people are starting to do that. Did you see that Tinashe had like a virtual concert? Like,
virtual concerts are happening all over the place. Like,
yeah, I don't know, but like to the point where it looked like she was in, like, you know how what's that guitar game where there's like a
Guitar Hero?
Yeah, where there's like a 3D like character in the game, and you hear her voice, she's performing her songs, but you're just watching the virtual character just perform.
Is that the third dope shit you want to share?
Yeah, that's my third one. You can watch Tinashe's virtual concert.
No, I like it when the DJs like DJ Heliella does a lot of not concerts, but playing music, and that's become such a popular thing. I love it. I love it. I know.
DJ Mel every Saturday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah, him.
People dancing in living rooms. Those are always dope. So there's plenty of
entertainment
music out there.
And
don't tell me you're bored. You cannot be bored. I don't care what you got going on in your life. You cannot be bored. Unless you don't have internet, then you're fucked. But other than that,
if you want to reminisce too, go back to the FeedBak YouTube page and watch Angela do all of our FeedBak parties.
Yeah, I love our videos.
Because we have so many of those. You'll see Angela,
oh my God,
all the people in this chat, like Paul's in those videos, Cat's in those videos.
Cat's in the videos, Sanaida.
Yeah,
all in those videos.
A lot of the crew from back then. We're getting old, folks, but we're getting old every second. So, oh well, fuck it. I'm not gonna end on it. Fuck it. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe to the FeedBak podcast. Everywhere you listen to podcasts, we'll do this every Thursday. Next week, we'll see who comes on, and we'll talk to you then. Thank you so much. Ciao, ciao.
Peace.